Let's do a little explainer here on how freezing rain works. How does this actually work? So this is us right now. Imagine it like this: very cold air. Cold air is dense and low to the ground and stubborn. So the warm air, that warm front that I showed you coming in, it actually starts to run into the cold air mass. That warm front shows up. The warm air is actually forced upward. You ever heard us talk about lift? Lift means that our air is moving up, so it overruns the cold, denser air, and that's that lift motion. The warm air cools as it rises, causing moisture in the air to condense into clouds and precipitation. That's how you get the cloud cover eventually as it moves up. Of course, you're talking about precip. What does that mean? So the precip starts up here, right? It actually starts as a snowflake every time. Then it runs into this warm air mass. That warm air mass melts it back to liquid, and then it falls through the cold air mass again as it gets to the surface. So the cold air is actually below 32 degrees. So tomorrow the temperature will be below 32. So how does this happen? Well, you get super cooled water droplets. The water temperature itself as it's falling through this is actually below 32 degrees. The water is. But it makes contact with the surface, and as soon as it makes contact with the surface, it freezes instantly. Supercooled water droplet indicates it's water that hasn't made the transition over to ice yet. That's what supercooled water is. And there's an example of this if you have a water bottle. You ever seen this one? You have a water bottle that's water, but if you open it up when it's outside, it freezes instantly. That's because that water inside didn't have any particles to touch, so it couldn't make the transition to a solid. And as soon as it touched the particles of the air, it all turned to the solid immediately. That is how freezing rain works. Now, how sleet works, if you're still with me on this, how sleet works is the cold air mass is larger. So that supercooled water droplet actually freezes to a ball. It's in the cold air longer. So it just turns into a ball of ice, which is less significant and less impactful.